The debate about the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in history is never-ending and open for interpretation. Greats like Langford, Pep, Robinson, Lewis, Ali, and many others all have a strong case to claim the prestigious title, the greatest of all time.
In the first minute, just look at this.
Unbelievable. There is no one in the world today could beat me.
However, the public perception of said champion means a whole lot more than an article printed by some biased writer or video made by an ever-learning young adult. This is a modern-day gladiator sport, funded by bloodthirsty fans that individually have their own right to crown someone their GOAT.
Marquez, amazing career.
He is the pound-for-pound champion, he has inducted anybody.
Entertainment is the key to a fan's heart, which is why Filipino sensation Manny Pacquiao is adored by millions across the globe. 25 years of violent confrontations have led us to quite easily pick out 25 moments that solidify his status as maybe not the greatest of all time on paper, but one of the most thrilling and captivating fighters in history. Here now, Boxing Legends TV presents 25 Manny Pacquiao moments that will never be forgotten. One of Pacquiao's more forgotten fights took place on March 12, 2010. Recent negotiations fell through for the Filipino to face Floyd Mayweather, so in stepped the notably bigger and stronger African boxer, Joshua Clottey.
There's a combination for Pacquiao, and he manages to rip a left through the guard. Clottey pretends to wobble.
Clottey's inability to compete with Manny's speed on the inside led to quite a negative fight and performance overall on his behalf. It took the HBO commentator Jim Lampley to lift the mood in round 8, as he went on quite an unusual but albeit hilarious outburst on Manny's punching power.
Bang, 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 bang. Try and stop it. Bang, bang. Here I come. Bang. Do you want to throw sometime? Bang. This is the Manny Pacquiao who has dominated boxing for the past 3 years.
The fight itself may have been forgotten with time, but that commentary clip is timeless. Pacquiao is known for being one of the nicest and most easygoing fighters in recent history, but on November 24, 2014, he openly admitted to being angry and bloodthirsty to put a demolition job on his cocky opponent, Brandon Rios.
No, this guy.
Es puto Pacquiao.
Así es, pendejo.
Manny was coming off the most devastating loss of his career to Juan Manuel Marquez, and Rios was making sure the world knew he'd be the one to put the final nail in Pacquiao's career coffin, so to speak.
I'll let you concentrate on the congressman. I gotta go in there, I gotta retire you. I gotta retire Manny Pacquiao, because I'm the next star.
Once the first bell sounded, Manny pounced on Rios and unleashed a streak of violent attacks.
It's hard for Rios to get him because he's always moving. I mean, he uses that right hand better than any southpaw I can remember. Look at that.
Brandon laughed off the onslaught early on, but after 12 rounds of punishment, he realized he messed with the wrong guy.
Pacquiao is enjoying looking at Rios' swollen, bloodied face. Pacquiao!
To this day, Brandon regrets his use of language and has nothing but respect for the Filipino slugger.
You can't hate the guy. You can't hate on the guy. He's done a lot of great things. And, you know, I go back and look at the 24/7. I look at all the shit I was saying. I shouldn't be saying that shit. You know, I fought one relation.
While Pacquiao has always been known by the nickname Pac-Man, from the years 2003 to 2005, another name was being thrown about by fans and pundits, the Mexicutioner. He was undefeated against the first 3 Mexicans he fought, Lucero, Barrera, and Marquez. But the legendary warrior, Erik Morales, put an end to the new nickname by dishing the Filipino his first defeat in 6 years, and what would go on to be his only defeat in a 13-year period.
Then what these two guys are showing you, this is boxing at its best.
The fight was close, but the right man got the decision. Manny, as all great fighters do, wasted no time in rematching Morales and went on to score 2 decisive knockdown victories in their next 2 meetings. When When they met the third time in November 2006, Pacquiao was clearly entering his fightful prime years and blitzed through the Mexican, scoring 3 knockdowns and a 3-round annihilation job.
15 seconds, down goes Morales again.
And the look on Eric Morales' face looks like he doesn't want anymore. That's it.
Manny Pacquiao has just put himself in the class of best pound for pound in the world.
On January 24, 2009, one of the most controversial fights in boxing history took place between Antonio Margarito and Shane Mosley.
That an illegal pad was found in Margarito's gloves.
Moments before the fight began, Mosley's team noticed something unusual with Margarito's hand wraps. Upon inspection, according to trainer Nazim Richardson, a block of cement literally fell out from the wraps.
The commissioner flipped it open and a block fell out of it.
The fight went ahead anyway, and Mosley went on to put a hellacious beatdown on the Mexican. The controversy surrounding this fight brought up even more questions about Margarito's previous bouts. How long had this been going on for? And did Margarito know what was really going on? Well, the former champ has never taken any responsibility for what he said was his trainer's intention. However, Manny's take on the matter during an HBO 24/7 episode had fans at home laughing out loud as he went on to express the same feelings as 99% of everyone else that was informed.
In my opinion, did he know? 100% yes. You would definitely know.
Of course, you know, what do you think of us? Stupid? You're gonna like, oh, coach, put my hand rough in my hands. I'm gonna close my eyes. Oh. Like that, no, right? It's a common sense.
Manny also did more than destroy Margarito verbally, but more on that later. Fans of Manny will be surprised to see his recent bout with Jeff Horn made the list, but upon review, even without his arms being raised at the end, it has to be said it was a spectacular fight to watch, and both men had individual standout moments.
The expectation was that Manny Pacquiao was going to destroy Jeff Horn.
In particular, round 9 was a flashback to a prime Pac-Man. If these before and after screenshots don't say enough, during Pacquiao's illustrious career, we saw a 106-pound strawweight gradually move up 12 divisions and become a champion at 9 different weights.
He's earned it the hard way from 122 pounds up to 140 pounds. He hasn't ducked anybody.
While a modern-day record on its own, what many people don't know is what would appear to be his optimal weight.
Is he number 1 pound for pound? He'll try to make a statement here.
Due to Pac-Man being such an incredible WBC champion in the lower weight classes, when he decided to move to 135 pounds on June 28, 2008, the World Boxing Council instantly granted him a title shot against the Eric Morales conqueror, David Diaz.
Third for good measure. Pacquiao again with that right hook, right uppercut combination. Tremendous work with the right hand by Pacquiao.
If you wonder why I suggested this might have been his optimal weight class, just check out his one and only performance at 135. The combination of Diaz's bravery and Pacquiao's sublime skills resulted in an extremely one-sided fight and knockout.
How many more? Down he goes, and Immaculate stops the fight.
Should have never got to that.
Diaz's interview after the fight has some pretty memorable moments just on its own.
Basically the story of the fight.
Yeah, he was too fast. Fucker was too fast.
Yo, I let cruise with a conglomerate. Choose we rock astonishing. Kiss the ring, bow down and honor it.
As you'll see throughout the video, Pacquiao is a dangerous SOB inside the ring. But whenever he's spotted away from the sport, he seems to be nothing but smiles. In particular, his pranks have gone viral from time to time, most of which are aimed at his gym mates. Here are a few that I couldn't help but laugh at. Unlike the stars of the Western world, Pacquiao didn't have an easy ride during the start of his career. A man that weighed little more than a supermodel was matched pretty fiercely before he became a star in the States.
Torre Campo has carried the fight to Pacquiao. Oh! It's over.
He was knocked out by Rustico Torrecampo and Singh Surat 3K Battery respectively. So when he had his first world title shot against the 32-1 Chachai Sasakul in 1998, he had to overcome the odds and elevate his performance like never before.
Looks like he's starting to puff a little bit, and down he goes where there was a cracking body shot in amongst a barrage of blows.
It was a difficult fight for Manny, but with a knockout in the 8th round, he grabbed the first of what would become many championships down the line. Sticking to the theme of a young Manny, on June 23, 2001, the Filipino caught arguably the biggest break of his career.
Hands of stone, Ledwaba.
The South African super bantamweight Lelo Ledwaba was en route to make his 7th world title defense of his IBF strap against the Mexican southpaw Enrique Sanchez. But a late injury in camp left Sanchez with no option but to withdraw from the fight and left Ledwaba opponentless. HBO only had 2 weeks to find a new opponent, and to be honest, no respected champion or contender would take a fight on that short notice unless they were really desperate. Manny, who had never fought outside of Asia at this point, was surprised when the phone rang and gave him an opportunity to fight in America for a world title.
Absolutely. I think this guy just hit so hard that Ledwaba is totally on the defensive. And he is banging Ledwaba right now. That's a TKO victory for the very impressive Manny Pacquiao.
One of Pacquiao's greatest wins, and you could really see how much this meant to him.
And I've won all my fights by knockout.
A risk for Pac-Man, no doubt, but with risk comes reward. Not only would a victory sway public opinion, but also earn a WBA welterweight title, which in turn would open up many more lucrative fights in the future.
Against one of the biggest names to ever be in the sport.
Pacquiao, to the surprise of many, rolled back the years and beat Lucas comfortably inside 7 rounds. His first knockout victory in almost 10 years, and a huge leap back on the road to redemption.
You were going to be the puncher, but today you dictated the pace from the first round.
By far, Pacquiao's most feared rival in his career to date was the former 6-weight world champion and elite pound-for-pound superstar Juan Manuel Marquez. The two battled out 4 historic fights over an 8-year period, with all 4 being just about as exciting as any sporting event could be. The fights were so close, people still argue about the winners of the first 3 to this day. Unfortunately for Manny, the 4th fight was settled in brutal fashion, which is largely, if not completely, what the fight is remembered for today. Upon review, however, an argument can be made that the most exciting round of Manny's entire career took place just 3 or so minutes before he was knocked out. Check out round 5 of Marquez vs. Pacquiao 4.
And Pacquiao's giving him some face and walking right there. That's how Pacquiao caught. Oh!
Huge right hand by Marquez. Pacquiao was able to stand up. His job is to get out of the round.
Oh, Marquez is hurt bad.
Right
Marquez is hurt bad. Marquez is hurt bad.
Pacquiao attacks. He may think he has it.
Marquez is hurt bad.
It's still wobbling. All out roars, baby. Pacquiao even with a knockdown. Day after day in sparring. None of that means anything now. Marquez is
As great as the round was from our number 15 pick, we had to put round 1 from their first ever encounter at least one slot above.
Marquez comes out in a more offensive stance than he usually does.
On May 8, 2004, the two pound-for-pound titans collided for the first time in what many felt would be an epic back-and-forth clash. Marquez started well, but out of nowhere, Manny put the Mexican down and continued to go on an absolute onslaught until the bell sounded to end the first. The 3 knockdowns in the first round were the only ones of the fight. To give Marquez credit, he bounced back, racking up a fair share of rounds himself before the final bell. The fight was scored a draw, but should have been given to Manny due to the third judge, Burt Clements, mistakenly scoring round 1 at 10-7 instead of a 10-6, which would have resulted in a Manny victory. A tough one to take, but at least it led to 3 more classic encounters. In the Western world, Manny will be remembered as nothing short of a boxing legend by all fans in the know. But over in the Philippines, he's leaving a legacy beyond sport.
One question that occurs to me again and again is, can I be a good congressman?
I'm Honorable Manuel D. Pacquiao from Lone District of Sarangani Province.
And my resounding answer is yes.
On May 17, 2016, Pacquiao received 16 million votes to land him among the 12 new members of the Senate. As a politician, Manny believes he can make a huge difference to the overall state of life for the people of the Philippines, and quickly began projects building new schools and hospitals in poverty-stricken areas. Ryan Songalia, a New York-based Filipino journalist, said in an interview last year, Pacquiao's level of popularity among the common folk is equivalent to Justin Bieber, Michael Jordan, and Elvis combined in the States. And I don't think anything will change for a while, with strong rumors he has ambitions to be president within the next 10 years. We couldn't make a Pacquiao video without mentioning his big upcoming fight with Keith Thurman this week. It's unquestionably his biggest test since the Mayweather fight in 2015, and whether he wins or loses, massive credit has to be given to the Filipino slugger for just taking the challenge at this point in his career.
I hope my words motivate him to fight a harder fight, because for me, it's just gonna make it an easier night.
Here is a quick rundown of the stats and a brief look at how their performance cards look at this period of time. May the best man win.
Drink up parking, do it like Jordan, run up and spark him. My G's been on badness way before they had a mustache like Starling. And his teams will love him.
On June 8, 2012, boxing fans were sick to their stomach as a very fortunate Tim Bradley had his arms raised at the end of a bout the entire world could clearly see he lost.
Pacquiao won at least 10 rounds. It was clearly lopsided.
Prominent sports writers for websites such as Bleacher Report, The Sabotage Times, and ESPN all ranked the fight in the top 5 worst robberies in the entire 120-year history of the modern sport. It truly was a disaster and had to be settled in a rematch sooner rather than later.
What I need to prove, I already proved that, I can easily win.
On April 12, 2014, the stage was set at the MGM in Las Vegas. Bradley, despite winning the first fight, had actually become vilified by the boxing media for matters that were out of his own control. He tried to respond to the critics in a big way by coming out fast and looking for the knockout. However, his newfound style played straight into the Filipino's hands as he was very soundly beaten over the 12 rounds. Vindication for Pac-Man and a great performance to settle the score once and for all. A boxing highlight reel wouldn't be complete without an infamous trash talker beatdown.
Floyd just fucking fought 60 seconds and got 9 million, and I'm trying to fight Tom Brady after I beat Pacquiao, so I don't want y'all to have nothing to say about this shit.
On January 19th, 2019, Pac-Man faced the brash, big-talking contender Adrian Broner in a pay-per-view bout on Showtime Sports.
Man, no disrespect, but he ain't fighting Floyd.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this.
He fighting me.
But do you think...
I'd beat your motherfucking ass, man. You worry about Floyd.
AB, also known as The Problem, was up to his usual pre-fight antics during the build-up. He claimed that Manny was too old, overrated, and unprepared, all of which turned out to be false, as Pac-Man beat him easily without really breaking a sweat. Normally, fights like this end with a cocky fighter being humbled, but to this day, Broner insists he won the fight, and apparently everyone in the hood shares his frustration.
I want to thank the whole hood who came out here. I love y'all. I did this for the hood. Y'all know I beat that boy.
When it comes to the pre-fight documentaries on HBO, Floyd Mayweather has always been the star of the show. It's all about the lifestyle and behind-the-scenes access, little about the actual fight and opponent he's trying to beat. Manny, on the other hand, has consistently given exclusive insight as to how he trains, spars, eats, and even poops during a build-up.
Incredible.
One of my personal favorite clips from the show was when he reacted to his upcoming opponent's secret tactics to win the fight.
So in the last 24/7, we saw Juan Manuel Marquez training. He was drinking his own urine.
He drinks his own urine.
Do you do that?
No, I'm not gonna do that. That's why he wants a rematch, because it's just a mistake. He just drink his urine, but he forgot to eat his...
To add what? Look at this guy. Yeah.
He had to eat his and then
training secrets with Manny Pacquiao.
There's a long and interesting history of legendary boxers retiring former legends of the ring. What's also referred to as a change of the guard has happened hundreds of times over the years.
The end of the fight. Tunney, the winner by unanimous decision.
Gene Tunney retired Jack Dempsey, as Marciano did Joe Louis, as Fury did Vladimir Klitschko. The old makes way for the new, and Pacquiao had his chance to take over for one of the most successful and popular fighters of recent generations in Oscar De La Hoya on December 6, 2008.
Dangerous and destructive, largely a 1-2. Jab, jab, straight left hand. His ability to fashion the the lead left hand, starting his offense with it, as he's doing there, shows how much he's progressed as a tactician.
One thing that you mean is very obvious.
What was nicknamed the Dream Match actually turned out to be a mismatch. Pacquiao completely dominated the former champ. Round after round, the Golden Boy was beaten black and blue. Thankfully, for Oscar's sake at least, his corner eventually threw in the towel and awarded Manny the title of the People's Champ. Obviously not Manny's most treasured memory from the ring, but a historic night that changed boxing forever nevertheless.
This feels like the atmosphere of those great fights in the 80s. Crowd is ready. A big roar greets the opening bell.
When Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather on May 2, 2015, the boxing world, scrap that, the entire world, were left deflated and unsatisfied with what was being built up as the fight of the century.
Was this worth the wait?
When the history books is written, it was worth the wait.
It certainly wasn't the worst fight I've ever seen, but admittedly, I knew it wasn't going to help the sport grow as, say, Ali versus Frazier did. Either way, the fight makes the list, based on the purses generated alone. Mayweather took home a whopping $180 million before endorsements, while Manny bagged a respectable $120 million himself. Not a bad night's work, if I say so myself. Pac-Man, as seen in this video, has had many great moments throughout his amazing career, But in 50 to 100 years' time, I can guarantee that the years from 2005 to 2010 will be the ones that fans refer back to as a close to unbeatable version of the fighter.
Well, I've already accorded him the greatest Asian fighter ever, the greatest left-handed fighter ever.
On November 14th, 2009, the Puerto Rican legend Miguel Cotto took to the ring for his 35th time without ever losing a fight legitimately. At this point, Pacquiao was a star in his own right and dominated the terms of the bout, which admittedly played in his own favor. Regardless of that, the performance alone silenced critics as he went on to destroy the normally iron-chin warrior inside the distance.
Body shot! Oh, magnificent left to the body.
Fans are going to get 12 rounds of action out of 10 rounds tonight.
Now they're going to get 15 rounds.
More. Oh, look at that! Look at that combination!
Oh my gosh!
The full array of Pac-Man's skill set was on display that night, an excellent performance and one myself, among many others, will never forget.
Now Kenny Bayless does his thing.
You want to see my greatness? Best believe I pay-per-view. Best believe I made for you. Boy, make sure
what a body shot!
While Pacquiao has scored some brutal knockouts early in his career, the tail end of it saw mostly only decisions go his way.
You hit like a bitch. He could knock a guy out that was straightforward coming straight at him.
Quite a surprising tale, considering every man who's ever shared a ring with him claims his power to be freaky in nature.
Straight, and his punches are like solid, you know, they're not snappy, they're just like, feel like bricks coming at you. Boom!
Oh my goodness!
One fighter who will never forget the brutish force is the British welterweight contender Ricky Hatton.
He hurt me with every punch, to be honest. Even the arm punches, they were solid.
On May 2nd, 2009, the stage was set for two of the best welterweights in the world to battle it out for the IBO world title. Hatton, a tough warrior himself, was very mindful of Manny's skill set, particularly his power, before the bout. However, his mindful attitude turned to fear for the opening bell, as he was well and truly beaten to a pulp.
They like each other. Follows the jab with a hook, comes back with another jab. There's the straight left hand, and he landed it right on Hatton's chin. And down goes Hatton after he swings and misses with a left hook.
It was only a matter of time before Pacquiao would find a shot to end the fight, but no one expected it to be as soon and as brutal as it was.
Oh my gosh, what straight left hook. And will Hatton make it up from this? Can he beat the count? Is that it? And Kenny Bayless says, no way, that is that. What an amazing knockout shot.
The greatest punch of Pacquiao's career and one of the greatest knockouts in boxing history. It's never going to be easy to narrow down a list like this to one particular moment. Manny has done a lot to admire. However, one particular fight deserves a special mention due to the satisfaction that it gave to boxing fans around the world.
Missing the election, all that, but you know what? To me, I think he's scared, and Freddie Roach is scared because he's not going to be the superstar no more. He's just going to be maybe a super, maybe, but the stars coming up is going to be Margarito.
On November 13th, 2010, Pacquiao faced off with who can only be described as the villain of boxing, Antonio Margarito.
Enfrente de mí. Le va a doler como si trajera yeso, pero no hay nada en el vendaje.
As mentioned earlier, Margarito has been involved in multiple scandals over the years, and despite serving multiple bans for different instances, his attitude towards each scandal is what angers the fans. On top of that, he is good. Very good. One of boxing's toughest warriors, to be more precise. A man that can take just as much as he gives. And on most occasions, that's a heck of a lot.
It went from an exhibition of skill to an exhibition of will. Antonio Margarito has said that Manny Pacquiao better be ready for war.
At close to 6 foot, Margarito towered over Manny in the ring. But again, that just became another factor in the satisfaction of the victory.
And he turns it around and bangs Margarito viciously. Left cross straight on the bad eye. And another one. Right on that badly bruised right eye of Margarito. Pacquiao hits him again with the left. Margarito nods at him. Pacquiao hits him at will. But speed belongs to Pacquiao. Good left hook inside back or left cross inside by Pacquiao. He lands the right hook too as Margarito steps in.
There were moments where Manny had to dig deep to keep the big man from getting too close. But other than that, the performance overall was sensational. Uppercuts, jabs, hooks, leaps, and ducks, each timed to perfection.
It's against the ropes. Margarito tries to press the action. Pacquiao hits him flat with a big left hand. And then flurries and backs Margarito off again. And we're done. Pacquiao has his unanimous decision victory. Margarito has a vicious beatdown to remember. And the satisfaction of having finished the fight.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's countdown, be sure to smash that like button. And as always, new viewers are welcome to join the BLTV community by subscribing down below. Until next time, fight fans, this is Boxing Legends TV, signing off.
Magnificent left to the